Hi everyone, welcome back to the Indoor Garden Series. We're growing some simple vegetables inside. We've got some microgreens growing, some lettuce greens, some herbs, and a tiny Tim tomato. And today is really exciting because I'm going to transplant these seedlings that I started about 8 weeks ago. This is a tiny Tim tomato, and we're going to transplant them into a larger container so that we can grow some tomatoes indoors this winter. So I'm actually going to take this outside and give you a little bit of the California sunshine. If you've been following along with this series with me from the beginning, you might have started your tiny Tim tomato seeds about 4 weeks ago. These were actually started about 8 weeks ago. So let me show you the difference in the size of the seedlings. Here we have an 8-week-old seedling, just to kind of give you an idea of what your seedling should look like about this time. And here we have a 4-week-old seedling. Now, one thing you might notice is that in the wintertime, your tomato plants are going to grow a lot slower indoors because your house tends to be a little cooler and the tomatoes really do like the warm temperatures. So one little tip that you can do to help them move along and grow a little faster is to put them in a warm location in your house or set them on top of a heat mat, and that will help speed things up. Now, a lot of you have asked if the 1-gallon container is large enough to grow a tiny Tim tomato. And no, it's not. It's large enough to start seeds, but I'm going to transplant one of the seedlings into this 5-gallon container and then transplant the rest of them into individual 1-gallon containers so they have enough room to grow to full size. I've got my Cali Kim 5-gallon smart pots filled up with good dirt potting mix. I pre-moistened it to about the consistency of crumbly brownie mix. You can go back and watch the first video so you know how to get your containers filled up, but you definitely want to use a high quality organic potting mix, one that retains water, which good dirt definitely does. And what I'm going to do is just make a little hole in the center of my pot here. It's really easy to transplant tomatoes, and we want to transplant our tomatoes deep because tomatoes send out roots wherever the stems touches the soil. So I'm preparing my pot here for my tomato seedling. Okay, it's ready to roll. And what I'm going to do is take the strongest and largest of the seedlings and transplant that one into this 5-gallon container. So it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tomato seedlings in here, which is going to give us 6 really nice tiny Tim tomatoes. And this one here is looking really, really good. You can see it's about maybe 3 to 4 inches tall, which is a great time to transplant it. It's got 2 or 3 sets of true leaves, and the true leaves are the leaves that actually look like the tomato leaves here, and that's a good sign that this is ready to transplant. So what I'm going to do is just get in here with my hands. I'm going to fold the sides down so you can see this better, and gently pull out the seedling. And I know this might make you just a little bit nervous, but the seedlings are actually a lot stronger than you think they are. So you can easily just get in here, kind of dig down under the seedling with your hands and pull it right out. And it's okay if some of the roots break in the process. You can see the roots are growing out the bottom here, which is a really good sign. They look absolutely beautiful. That's one reason why I love the smart pots, because the fabric is aerated and the roots and the plants get the air they need to really grow nice and strong. So all we're going to do is just pop this here in this hole that we prepared for it. We are going to plant it rather deep. Just leave the top part sticking out, because all these little hairs on the stem here are going to grow roots, which are going to make your tomato plant be nice and sturdy. So we're just going to pop it down in there and just leave the top part sticking out. Push the soil over it. And a 5-gallon smart pots is plenty of room for this tiny tomato to grow to full size. Now, the wonderful thing about tiny Tim tomatoes is that they're a dwarf tomato. They just grow to about 2 feet tall. So as this grows, we're going to stake it up with a small little cage. I'll show you exactly how to do that, but they're really perfect for indoor growing, and they grow the most delicious red cherry tomatoes you've ever seen. They're so, so tasty. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and separate these other seedlings, and I don't have room for a lot of 5-gallon pots indoors right now, so I'm going to separate them into the 1-gallon Cali Kim smart pots. And then as they grow, we'll be transplanting them again into the 5-gallon pots, and hopefully by then it'll be warm enough to get a few planted outdoors. And you'll find the tiny Tim tomato seeds in the Cali Kim Indoor Garden Seed Collection. There's 10 varieties in there that make it really easy for you to grow your indoor garden. So here I'm just pulling up the seedlings here again. This is a really nice, healthy looking seedling. Look at all the roots there. That is a great sign. And again, we're just gonna dig a hole here with our hands in the middle of our container. When you're growing indoors, please don't bring in your garden soil to put in your indoor pots. It's just too heavy for the containers, and you don't want to bring in those pests to your indoor garden. So here we're going to have 6 beautiful tiny Tim tomato plants here. And this is actually a fun little gift that you can grow and then give away to your friends. It's always fun to share your garden with others and then get them excited about gardening as well. And please comment below. Let me know if you're growing an indoor garden and what you're enjoying about it. There is just something about seeing that green grow in the wintertime indoors on your windowsill or under grow lights. That just is so much fun. And what I'm going to do with these is add some more soil, because remember, wherever the soil touches the stem, it's going to send out roots. Then as the soil settles over time, it will kind of settle. You can definitely add more soil to fill your pots all the way up to the top and to make your tomato plant nice and strong. I do like to use these plant saucers for my indoor plants. This one fits really handily under the 1 gallon smart pots. This is an 8-inch plant saucer. I'll put a link to where I got it on Amazon. That way you don't get water all over your house. And the plant saucer underneath the 5 gallon is a 14-inch. So it works really well for indoors. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tomato plants ready to roll, and 4 more here that'll be ready to transplant in just a couple of weeks. We definitely want to water when we transplant to avoid transplant shock and just to give the plants a little extra boost. So I've got my watering can here, and we're going to add some fertilizer to the watering can. I did take my little nozzle off the watering can just to direct the water around the soil. I don't want it splashing up onto the plants because that can cause disease, as I talked about in the watering video. We're using the Good Dirt plant food, which is high in nitrogen. 4 pumps into this watering can. This is a 1 gallon watering can, or maybe it's 1.5 gallons, but 4 pumps works well. And also some of the Vermistera worm tea. So this will just give them a nice little boost, help them get growing. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to taste these tiny Tim tomatoes. They are so, so delicious, and I know you guys are gonna love them too. We'll give this a little stir, and then we're gonna wet the soil down around the plant. And make sure you go back and watch the watering video I did a couple of weeks ago so you know exactly how to water your indoor seedlings. You can see the soil is settling just a bit, and the drip tray will catch all the drips. So again, you may have to add some extra soil to your containers as you go here. It's so much fun to see the pop of green and the pop of color in the 1 gallon smart pots. Really is fun to grow these inside. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. Comment below and let me know how things are going for you, if you're having any issues. We are going to be doing a future video, hopefully next week, on pest problems inside. So make sure you tune back in for that. Subscribe, share it with your friends, and we're going to all have so much fun growing together. Now what I'm going to do is take this back inside, pop it under grow lights. Now if you've never grown with grow lights before, don't let that intimidate you. I have a video on 4 easy grow light setups, so you know exactly how to get some set up inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually put this on a little stand next to my little indoor cabinet here. So you can see I've got this gallon jug filled with sand, the clip light attached to this PVC pipe. So what I'm going to do is just modify and make it work for the space I have. I'm going to move this clip light down further so it's directed more on the tiny Tim tomato. I'm going to scooch my cabinet over just a little bit. And I may need to modify that a little bit more by raising up this plant, because we do want it to be just about 2 to 3 inches away from the light. So just make adjustments and make it work for the space that you have. Now I do have 6 other little tomato plants that I'm going to have to find room for. So let me show you a peek on where I'm going to put those 2. I want to encourage you guys to find little spaces in your house where you can grow plants. Here we made an under the stairs storage into a grow light closet. Camera guy helped me do this several years ago. So we've got some shelves in here, some shop lights hanging from the ceiling. It's a perfect spot for the tomatoes because it's nice and toasty warm in here. So I've got blocks of wood to raise the plants up just a little bit so they're close enough to the light. I'm going to pop my tiny Tim tomatoes in here, Please excuse the mess. You can see it's where we keep our extra paint and other supplies that we're not using. But the perfect spot for the tomatoes. We're going to pop them in here, and we're going to leave these lights on 18 hours a day on, 6 hours a day off. It's going to grow us some really nice tomatoes. Now let me know if you have any little spots in your house that are tucked out of the way for growing plants. If you haven't yet started your indoor garden, grab an indoor garden seed collection, grow along with me. We're having a great time, and we've got plenty of sunshine here in Southern California to keep you warm all winter long. Comment below, let me know how your indoor garden is doing. What's your favorite thing to grow indoors right now? I'd love to read about it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.